Alright, so this Jimi Hendrix song had the most requests over the last week, so I'm going to do this one first today. So this is When Cries Mary. I'm going to do this in 3 different pieces. I'm going to do the intro and the first 2 verses, and then stop and show you what was going on there, and then do the solo section, stop and go over that, and then do the last 2 verses and the outro as the third part. So here's part 1. Okay, so that's our first part. So the first thing we did, we had an E flat power chord. So this is a 6 on the A string, and then the 8 and 8. But what we do to that is we add that extra bass note, the 6th fret on the big E string. So it's 6, 6, 8, 8. And we do that chromatic up 3 chords. So that's like an E flat to an E to an F, but it has the extra bass note on it. So it'd be like an E flat 5 with a B flat bass. Now our next chord, so I'm doing 3 strings here, the 8th fret of 3 different strings, but I'm hammering into only the 10th fret of the 5th string, so you got to get it real tall so you hear those other notes ringing too. And then again, and then you got a little riff that goes. So that's going to be the 2 10s in the middle strings, the D and G strings, down to the 5th string, 12th fret, back to that chord there, and then what I'm hitting here is like the 12 and the 10s. That's another one where you got to be tall over the other string. Back to that 12 and slide down, so it's... Now we're going down to this C chord, start with the bass. So we got a little 2 there, we got that B note. So C bass to the C chord, to the B note, to the B flat bass. So that has a little bit of a bum, jen jen. Then F. So I'm holding that bar chord firm, but I'm doing a hammer on here on this 2 on the 3rd string. So. So that was a quick slide on the 1s down here to the 3s and back. Could be like things like that sometimes. Sometimes he doesn't really do that at that spot. He always mixes it up. So sometimes he'll be doing on that 3rd one instead of a high riff like that. So always kind of mixed up, listen to the different things he did. But that'd be a thing where you could kind of throw in your own riffs too. Sometimes when he goes down, he'll go like... So instead of doing the normal B flat, he'll do that B flat where he's hammering into the D note, which is still part of a B flat, but just in a different way than this more power chord sounding thing. So it's kind of 3 times of that little chord progression, and then you got this thing. He brings this thumb around to the 3 here, and you want to make sure that with this finger and or the thumb, you're muting the 5th string because it's no longer active. We don't want to hear that. So this is how he did his major chords a lot, as opposed to a big bar chord. You hardly ever see him do anything like that. but he could reach so far around that he could probably, that's why I do that bar chord down here, even for the hammer on. He probably didn't need to do it, but his hands were huge, and so he could probably easily jump in to cover that extra note to get that hammer. So here, you really need this fingering because of what you're doing down here. You're bringing in this pinky on the 5th fret of the 2nd string. So, and then you're going to take that same thing up to the 6th fret. And then you got your beginning chords again. That'll start the 2nd verse. So it's all the same stuff. 3 times that C to B flat to F. Like I say, the fills get mixed up and kind of do whatever you want there. Now we got the G to the B flat and the beginning chords again. Now that G to B flat thing always goes twice there. Now the solo is going to start. So the solo is going to be okay, so here goes the solo breakdown. So we got 10s on these 3 strings here, 5th, 4th, and 3rd, hammering into the 12th fret. And that's actually a different rhythm guitar in the background, but you can do that to get this solo started if you're just doing it as like a trio or something. So this one down here is the hammering to the 15th fret off these 13s down on the 2nd string. And that's 12 and 13 down here, 13 on the 2nd string, 12 on the 3rd. Bringing in that 14 and out to the 15 on the D string and back. And then we're going to do a hammer-on pull-off of that chord. 10, 12, 10, 12, boing. So let's look at that first one again. So the second one. So 10, 12, 10, 12, 10, and then boing, boing, boing. And then the third one. So ba-da, ba-dee, boom. And then we're going to come up here to the 15th fret. Do that same type of riff. So that one's da-dee-da-da. Same thing, going to that extra fret over there. Then we're going to come down to the 6th fret, this B flat area. Yes, that part is bum, bum, na, bum, da, 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 da. Now we're coming up here into this 9th fret area of a pentatonic minor type thing. So we're going to bend that 12th fret of the 2nd string. So after that bend, we got the little 9 to the 12 again. And that's one of those typical bluesy kind of maneuvers. You're going to bend that 11th fret, hit those 9s. So we got so after that bum bum bum, you got, and then we're going to end with so da dee dum bum ba dee bum, and then so that was sliding into the 12 and the D to the 10 on the G, 12 10, and then 13 12 on the A, and then at the end go. So you're gonna hit that F note, 3 5 to the C, and that's gonna start your last one. So I'm gonna hit that solo one more time for you to kind of wrap that up. up high, 6th fret, 9th fret position, and then the last riff. And this will be the 3rd verse, same type of stuff down here. Let me do that again. Then this time, before the last verse, he just goes bam to the C. And that could be off that F note, 13th fret again. And sometimes it'll be a full chord that hits that B there. Let me go back to that. Then we're going to start bringing in these little fills. So here goes the last time of this G to B flat, and then we're going back into like what was the intro with some added fills, and then makes it the outro. So we got. We're going to do that hammer-on thing. And then we got some fills coming in. The first one is, so that's the 8s going up to 10s and back. And then we got 10s on the 2nd and 3rd string going into that, hammering into the 10 and 10, hammering into the 11 on the 2nd string. So, and then we got so that was a hammer from 10 to 12, and then 12, 10, 8 on the 5th string, and then you're back to your big chord. Then we got this fill. So 8, 8, 10, 8, 10, 8, 10. So all together we got. And then our very last thing is, so that was going to be that 10 over the 8, 10 to 7, and then the same thing again. And that's going to be a little fuller of a chord here with the 10, 10, 10 going to the 12, 10, and 11. So that last one is. Okay, so one more time for all those fills at the end. Alright, When Cries marry Jimi Hendrix. Thanks a lot. Please like and subscribe. I'm Damon Wood. We'll see you soon. Let us know if you got any requests in the comments. Thanks a lot.